Blake was really outgoing. He was very smart. He was always in the top of his class, and he was very athletic. He was on the varsity volleyball team at Woodbridge High, and he always was making everyone laugh. He just was, I don't know, he was just a really great kid, and everyone just looked up to him. He had lots of friends. He had a pretty good family and with lots of money, and everyone kind of looked up to him and really liked him. So he's just a very well-liked guy. And in college he went to private school, and he was in a fraternity, so he continued to just have lots of friends and be very influential with his friends. And he was diagnosed when he was, I believe, 19 or 20 when we first started dating, actually, and it took them a really long time to figure out what he had. He spent way too much time at the doctors and at the hospital, and he was just very sick, and it took a while to figure out what it was, but once they did, a lot of the treatments just weren't working, and he really struggled with it on a daily basis on what would help his pain for just that day, and if he would have to go back to the hospital and back to the doctors. But he always, when I saw him, just kept a happy face and didn't want me to worry about him and didn't want me to be upset. So I went over to his house. We had a glass of wine and we were just hanging out and talking, and he seemed a little bit strange. But again, it was late at night, so we ended up just going to bed and falling asleep, and the next morning I woke up and he just wasn't there. And
I got a phone call from Lauren at 6:30 in the morning, and she was hysterical on the phone saying that Blake wasn't breathing and he was cold and she couldn't wake him up. And my automatic response is to hang up and call 911.
He was just blue, and I knew he was gone. I didn't know why, but I knew he was gone. It was the scariest moment. I couldn't even check for a heart rate because all I heard was my heart pounding. So I ran to get his brother in the house next door, and I just said, he won't wake up. I don't know what to do. So we both went back and called 911 immediately, and it was just, I didn't feel like it was really happening. I couldn't cry, I couldn't react. I was just shaking and scared.
And she couldn't even speak on the phone. She was so upset. And I said, it's the fire department there. And so she handed the phone over to the fire department. And I asked him, is Blake okay? What hospital are you going to? And he said, we're not going to the hospital. And I said, oh, well, that's good. And he says, no, ma'am, we're not going to the hospital. I said, well, are you doing CPR? And he said, no. And I said, does that mean he's gone? And he said, well, I can't tell you that. And I said, well, you don't need to. And then I said, please stay with Lauren. Just don't let her be alone. I'll be there as soon as I can. Just stay with her.
The firemen were the first ones there, and they immediately came in and took over the CPR that I was doing, and they had a few of the firemen just take me aside and ask what was going on. They were very nice, and they really wanted to know what the situation was and about him and what had happened. So they were very warm, and it felt more like they cared. And then my family got there, and the firemen left when the policeman got there. And the policeman just kind of helped out with getting the details and all that stuff. But he had overdosed that night, and the next morning we found things in his apartment. I was with the firefighters, and we found stuff in the house, drugs and stuff that he had taken while I had taken a shower that I don't know, it was just also hidden from me. So I don't know, there's so many things. When I was with Blake, he did use, he did, you know, occasionally smoke weed, and he did drink when he was out with his friends, but that's what everyone did. It was just the normal thing, and I didn't really see it as a huge problem. And I had a feeling that there were other things that he kept from me, but I never, you know, tried too hard to find out what they were. I think at that point I didn't really want to know. But because I knew of all the struggles that what he went through, he definitely had some family issues and a lot of trouble in his, I think when he was a child he went through some things. So I think that there was a lot that led up to it, and a lot of demons that were hidden behind his perfect facade.
We knew Blake was in a lot of pain just with his personal life and his health. I didn't really fight for him like I think I should have. As a mother, I thought of Blake as a child, like my own son. I didn't have a son, but I really felt like he was my child. We all loved him, and I knew he was sick. I knew he wasn't getting better. As a nurse, I wanted to know every detail. He kept it hidden. He was so darn stubborn. And I should have fought for him more. Just with my knowledge base, I knew that he wasn't getting the care that he needed.
I think that it was a tragic situation, and I think it started from his dependence on, I think the drugs was just based off of the pain from his autoimmune disease, Behçet's, and it just grew from there, and he became so dependent that maybe he didn't have control anymore over himself or the pain, and he just needed to continue to keep using more. It's just too bad that no one really knew and no one could help him the way that he needed to be helped.
In the future, I will never let a child or someone in my life that's hurting that badly, I will never not fight for them again. That's what I've learned, is that we need to keep trying to help them and understand that that the reason why they do this is out of sadness and desperation, and what you're seeing as a result of that. And I would say that most people that have a drug and alcohol problem have bigger hearts than most, because they feel everything and everything. They feel more than your average person, which is maybe why they want to be numb, because they just need to kind of calm down how much they actually feel.
Blake taught me a lot about how to just live every day to the fullest. He definitely did that, even though he was going through a lot at home and with his autoimmune disease. He was always the funniest person and the one to brighten up everyone's day and make everyone feel special. So that was always really special about him. And I don't know, he was too young.
High up above or down below, when you're too in love to let it go. But if you never try